that. We're just gonna see how everything works out. Everything looks good, looks solid. Turn this into, I figure it was gonna be something like that. Let me turn this into that. Turn this into hats. And then delete Somatic. Yeah. So you putting up anything today, Somatic? Nope, nothing. Okay, cool. Put that there. Why didn't that go over here? That's weird. Yep, looks like we're live. Okay, just gotta fix a couple things here. Always gotta fix a couple things. Well, at least while I'm fixing that, you guys can look at. That's weird. Everything looks good here. Okay. They don't know what they want to do. Bluepoint Game Studios.
Here's what I found.
Cool. Looks like everything's working. Great. Okay. I'm here in this notorious Dre. I see PlayStation Source here. Um, cool. I'm not playing PlayStation All Stars, by the way. I'm just I just have the videos from back in the day. Notorious wanted to do some magic, so I'm learning all of this shit as I go. Still I'm not studying. Playing PlayStation All Stars, by the way. I'm just I just have the videos from back in the day. So no, it's gonna sound a little crazy. But the PS4 is it's 6 years old now. Next year it'll be 7 years old. It's then I believe the next generation's coming faster, and from everything we know, maybe Adam and other people will jump in here. The reason why this generation seems a little bit faster. Sorry, I'm pretty sure the echo should be gone. The reason why this generation is moving faster because it's healthier for Sony. It's not naturally healthier for Microsoft, but when the GameCube didn't do good, they hurried up and moved towards the Wii, you know, and then when the Wii did good, they hurried up and moved towards the Wii U. You know, whether you're healthy or you're not doing so good, sometimes you're going to try to move out. That's for the competitors. When Sony does something, they try to do a 10-year life cycle console, which I'm pretty sure the PS5 is going to be a 10-year life console, life cycle. PS4 already we know it's 6 years old. Next year it'll be 7 years old. There's no reason why I can't live out 3 additional years, which it probably will, and still get support from third party as well as first party. The first 2 years of the PS5's life cycle, I believe that Sony will still produce first party games for it. So with that being said, yeah, it seems a little fast. If anybody's wondering, it seems just a tad bit fast, and it's all right. It's 100% all right. But that's just how these types of things go. Uh, what's going on? JKS Guy Code. I see Jamar Bates. I see Sick Humor. Um, Up here trying to learn this fucking OBS shit. Yeah, I just watched another video getting educated on this looping shit. I should have fucking watched all those videos at once. It was actually fucking easy. But yeah. This is just some PlayStation All Stars information. I just want to let everybody know. When PlayStation All Stars comes on, if you ever played the game, it's Bluepoint that starts out first. Then you see Sony Santa Monica. Then you see Superbot. Superbot was the studio Sony made specifically to head this game. But there were other players again in Sony Santa Monica and Bluepoint. The engine that the game's running on was developed by Bluepoint. But the developers that made the game, they were Superbot. So they're talking, Bluepoint's talking about making some huge game for the PS5 launch. The rumors said that it was PlayStation All Stars. I'm not holding my breath anymore. If I don't see major clues dropping between now and the end of February that would lead us to believe that PlayStation All Stars is going to be some sort of a launch title, then no. Would it be a big title? Fuck yes. It's a title that would work with all the momentum that Sony has going into this new generation. But I clearly don't want to only talk about that. But yeah, you see all the characters they had. PlayStation 4 has amazing characters. You got the Hunter from Bloodborne. You got Aloy. You could definitely add in there the new version of Nathan Drake, the new version of Kratos, Sam. Sam Bridges from Death Stranding could be in there, fucking smacking people with the baby inside the canister or some shit like that. But definitely a lot of things they could do with it. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys see this gameplay. It's looped. I have 3 different clips, so it's not just one video. But yeah, what are your thoughts on PS5? I'm still going ahead with getting my pre-order for the Death Stranding PS4 console, which means I will have 2 consoles. I'm not sure if I'm going to give away the black PS4 Pro. I might just keep both, and I've talked to Yella about this and others. I'm going to transfer all my games to an external hard drive. I'm going to get an 8 terabyte one towards the end of the year. I'm going to lock that down, transfer all my games over to that, right? Everything on the black PS4, transfer it over to that, and then I'm going to start operating from the Death Stranding PS4 at the end of the year in December, once I finished all of that. That's my plan. That's what I'm doing. Because if I do that and all my games will be operating off of an external hard drive. I know it sounds stupid, but that's what I'm going to do. It'll be a new version of a PS4 Pro that I'm getting, which is the Death Stranding. Hopefully it runs a little bit better and quieter than the first edition PS4 Pro that I have. And then I won't be so attached, to the PS4 Pro when the PS5 comes out. So I might trade it in for it or see how much they want for it. Other than that, hopefully we can get the price so I can just start putting $100 a week on that shit, or maybe $200. Maybe you just pay the whole shit off, because the free check I'm getting this fucking month allows me to just pay off fucking Death Stranding's PS4 with $400. So I do hope we can get the price, because I want to pre-order that shit and put money on it. I want to start putting money on it, not saving for it. I want to put money on it. I want to buy that shit now. I want to get it out the way. If you guys remember back in the day on this YouTube channel, probably before you knew me, I had already got the camera. It was in my house. I had already got the controller. It was in my house. I had already got Knack. I had already brought Killzone. The games and the peripherals, the controllers had came out before the PS4 console. So I had all of this stuff, right? And of course, I think I believe I waited. No, I don't think I waited. I believe I unboxed the controller and the camera before the PS4 came. But when the PS4 came, I did a separate unboxing, and it was crazy. So I want to know how that's gonna be. Of course, this is confirmed. This is just for me until other people get up in here. I'm definitely going to be picking up the camera. Okay, I've gotten all the cameras since I left Nintendo and came back to PlayStation, and that was a long time ago. I got the camera for the PSP. I didn't need to get a camera for the PS Vita because the camera was already built in. But yes, I did use the camera for the PS Vita. Of course, I have gameplay of augmented reality technology in the Vita using the camera. Another thing, I got the camera as soon as it came out for the PS3. Of course, you already know the PS4 camera. So I can't wait to get the camera. I know it's gonna have a better quality. The quality that I've dealt with this camera is it's good for the price that you pay. I think it's as low as $40. When it came out, it wasn't even $60. It was $40 camera. It had its own mini games in it. The games also had trophies, and it was a lot of other things you could do and use the camera for. And then, of course, later on this generation, you figured out you needed the camera for the VR. And then, see, I was a PlayStation Move adopter last generation. So I had the PlayStation Move last generation, and I had the controllers. But when the PS4 came out, they didn't talk about using the controllers. So when I traded in my my PS3 stuff, which was some games and the controllers that I felt that I didn't need going into the PS4, you found out a couple years later they're coming out with VR, and the one thing you needed with the VR was the camera, which I already had, and the controllers, which I had traded in about 3-4 years prior. So this time around, I don't know if I'm gonna need any of that. Like this camera, it might be a different type of camera input. So this camera doesn't have a normal USB port. It has a specific port in the back of your PS4 or PS4 Pro that you're gonna need to hook it up. So yeah, I just want to talk to everybody about this. We're still gonna talk. I'm gonna read some of these comments real quick. It's a busy day. It's a busy day. It's a little fucked up. Yes, I've already played Concrete Genie. I don't have any of that gameplay on a computer right now, but I do have some other gameplay, and I'll have that rotated a little bit later. But I just wanted to show you this gameplay while talking about it, because this is a game that Bluepoint also helped make, and a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think about, oh, Bluepoint, they did the Uncharted remasters and they did Shadow Colossus. What I really also want to talk about with Bluepoint, and Sick Humor, if you want to get in here, or anybody else wants to get in here, let me know. You can. With Bluepoint, I think Sony should buy them. Bluepoint has been working on PlayStation exclusives for the last good amount of 9-10 years now. And I just think that at this point, Sony should just buy them. And again, when I'm talking about 9 or 10 years, I'm talking about PlayStation All-Stars, which came towards the end of last generation. They helped make this game. This was an exclusive, and then they did the Nathan Drake collection. Then they did the remake for Shadow Colossus, which was, it needed to happen. Shadow Colossus is an amazing game, but it seriously was an older game. And what was weird about it is they did such a great job. I don't think anybody could have did a better job. Anybody else, they probably would have just said, hey, let's try to do a remaster. Let's make it look a little pretty, but we're not going to take the time to do a remake. Do I say that these developers have a lot of time on their hands? Yes, after they got Shadow Colossus out the window, yes, they had a lot of time on their hands. But you got to remember, they went from remastering all the Nathan Drake games, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, of course, not including the multiplayer, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, and then from that, they went to do a remake of Shadow of Colossus, which again I play that game every now and then, bro. It is amazing. It truly is amazing what they were able to do with that. Whatever they're working on next will not be remaster or remake. And that's something important. That means they will be working for the first time that I know on something brand new. Um, and that's something to get very excited about. Very, very excited about that. Hey, PlayStation Source, send me a DM. Send me a DM on send me a DM on Twitter. I'm gonna get you a link real quick. Let me go get you that link. No, that's the wrong one. Thanks, Sick Humor. Yeah, man. Definitely. They gotta buy, man. I mean, Bluepoint's been with them for a long time. And I'm gonna put it out there, bro. Uh we saw uh I don't know how to say her name. Sick Humor, you know the chick that came out and did that weird pose, the Japanese chick. She did that weird pose on stage. She's supposed to be making some scary game, and then she ended up leaving that studio, and now she's kind of like Kojima, wandering around other studios. But she's visited Sony Japan studio 2 times already. She visits Sony Santa Monica studio, and it's like, is this another developer that they're gonna trust? Give her own people and let her do what Kojima is doing. Does Sony have the money to do it? Fuck yes. Sony has that money to do it. So I definitely believe they are gonna do something like that. Um, Let me see if I can get the rest of the panel in here. I'm a I'm gonna shoot a invite out to PlayStation Source real quick. Let me see. But yeah, man. Yeah, I see Sony buying Kojima. Kojima's getting older. He's not like, oh, this dude's fucking super old. He's fall and fucking kill himself. No, he's up there though. You know, he wants job security. He wants security as far as a paycheck. And if you team up with Sony, you're never gonna go hungry. You know, I know that rhymes a little bit, but it's very true. At this point in time, Sony's so high. Sony is on the top. Um, they it doesn't seem like anything's gonna knock them down right now, and they have enough money to support all their developers and studios. You know, they obviously said they were looking to acquire other studios. I believe when Death Stranding comes out and does what it needs to do, not just the popularity, not just the social media stuff where, oh, we're sharing videos, we're posting live streams, we're sharing pictures of photo mode. No, I'm talking about that money that it's gonna make. When Sony sees that money that it's gonna make, and Kojima sees that money that it makes, again, his fan base is from PlayStation. Let's just put it out there. He's made other games on other platforms. His other PlayStation games are on other platforms, but he knows where his home is. And if everything goes right financially, as far as the revenue coming back from Death Stranding, and it makes the money back and more that Sony put into it, because Sony put a lot of money into that game. You know, this is the first game that's from an indie developer that has AAA quality written all over it. It's written all over Death Stranding. They have multiple different voice actors from different countries. I just learned about Poland. They have a native voice actor for Death Stranding in Poland. Of course, the Japanese voice acting. All-star cast over there. The all-star cast of United States voice actors for Death Stranding. Of course, the offers that Kojima has, the letting him use the Decima engine, which has only ever been used on PlayStation exclusives. It's just gonna be crazy, you know. And I do like the idea that he has transformed this Decima engine. I don't think the Decima engine has looked as good as it did with Horizon. I think Horizon's a beautiful game, but I think he's definitely done better with it. And I would love to see this be used in more games. You know, let's say the people that are doing Concrete Genie, maybe their next game they use the Decima engine. You have something of your own. It's working. It looks great. It's open world compatible, by the way. The Decima engine has been used for Horizon Zero Dawn and now Death Stranding, both open world compatible. And then, of course, games like Killzone, which is a first person shooter game, and it looks even more beautiful. So, definitely, they need to continue to use the Decima engine. They need to continue to use that. Let me see. Let me create this invite and get this out to the PlayStation Source guy. But I wanted to know your thoughts. What's going on, Cyber Dragon? I see you in there. I want to know your thoughts. Adam, jump in here, you little bitch. I know you. I see you in there. I want to know what your thoughts are. Yes, Tokyo Ghostwire. Yeah, she worked on Tokyo Ghostwire. Her name is Akumi Nakamura. Okay, yeah, that does sound familiar. Yeah, she's been hanging around with Cory Barlog from Sony Santa Monica a lot. Been joking around about being the new Sony chair president or whatever. It's like, it's really crazy, man. It's just really crazy. So it's a lot. Oh fuck, it's Adam Core. Oh god.
Trying to jump in, I jumped in.
Yeah. Bro, how you like that new stupid ass technology that everybody's fucking ahead of me on, even Sick Humor, this loop shit? It was there. It's just I didn't use it. Or I was just, but I was like, I'm not, huh?
What's this?
It's just some PlayStation All-Stars gameplay I captured years ago. I just got it looped up because Bluepoint worked on this game, and they're talking about it's a fucking big game. I mean, what's bigger than having all your studios team up, making sure they're there, checking on their characters that are going to be used in a PlayStation All-Star game, and having their brain power developing a compelling story and campaign for such a big game. Yes, it would be big. Other than that, I don't see them doing a remaster. I don't see them doing a remake. The way that it's talked about, it would have to be a new IP. It will have to be a new name. Yeah, I mean, we don't know the name or anything. We don't know. Yeah, I just think it would have to be something brand new.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm currently reading this Wired article about the PS5 today. Obviously, it seems to be the sense that Wired are the ones that are getting this info out of everybody.
Did they get this info last year when they talked about PS5?
No, it was this year.
No, they talked about PS5 also. Like
they talked about this beginning of this year, and then they talked about it.
And Wired was the one that they're contacting.
I'm guessing so. I mean, Wired are the ones that get the scoop on this thing. Like the first ones anyway. The first articles that appear are them.
I like that. I wouldn't give it to IGN
because it says here exclusive, a deep dive, a deeper look into the PS5.
Yeah, I'm glad they're getting the scoop because at this point in time I wouldn't give it to IGN or US Gamer.
Well, they're not. I mean, Wired, Engadget, they're the sort of people you want to go for because they're more techie. IGN are more games related, like software related. I mean, they talk about hardware, but they're not like people from Wired or Engadget, like people that are into that sort of hardware aspect. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm just having a look at all the stuff right now, man. Seeing what's going on. Like I see, obviously, I saw earlier on today that they're replacing the rumble feature with a haptic feature, which is different variations of like what's the word called again? Not impact, but reference or
I'm just thinking because we don't know. I think it might be a slow build up to some games. I don't know. I'm just thinking because I think it's gonna be a slow build up because we don't know anything, right? So we don't know what developers. I always talk about the rotation. Like Horizon is in a rotation compared to other games that are now in the forefront. Let's say like Naughty Dog is out there pushing Last of Us, But when Last of Us wasn't being pushed, Horizon was out there. You see what I'm saying? And like God of War has already been out, so there's another developer in rotation right now, and I think that will be Sucker Punch. However, they are quiet on what's going on with Ghost of Tsushima, but I did see a job listing yesterday.
Yeah, for lead artist.
Yeah, but we have other developers that are in rotation that haven't showed us what they're working on.
I mean, there's also that one thing. I don't know if y'all follow Colin Moriarty that closely, or whatever, but he was talking on this podcast a few months ago, and he was very confused that this quote unquote like second party exclusive that still hasn't been announced yet, and that and that's according to his information and what he has on that specific game, that he was very confused that that game hasn't been announced yet and or dropped yet, and he is of the impression that like it's definitely ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are thinking that maybe that is the Bluepoint Demon Souls remake, but then
that's
that
what everyone's looking at, aren't they? That's what everyone's looking
I'm gonna be honest. If it was, I'm gonna say, I want PlayStation All Stars, but I'm just being a fanboy of that specific game. But if it was a Demon Souls remaster, it would be just as big as getting a new All Stars game, because it's the game that started it all. And we're using the name remake, and people need to understand the difference between a remake and a remaster. Yes, they both look good to us, but they're different. They're different. And I think that a game that started the Souls genre, oh my God, that would be fucking dope.
Fire.
I was talking to Big Money.
Well, I heard that. I heard just a few moments ago. Well, I heard today, should I say, that Bluepoint apparently are working on a next gen PS5 title. So I'm wondering, what is it? Are they working on this Demon Souls game? Because that wouldn't be a PS5 title. Like that would be.
Well,
like,
what?
Weird.
What if they had two teams, and what if Demon Souls is already ready, right?
Maybe,
they have to have two teams at this point.
The new game they're working on, I'm gonna be honest, if it is a PlayStation All Stars game, they wouldn't be alone. There's no way Sony would ever let another one studio team work on a game that huge. Superbot, I'm not saying that they didn't have the skills. You're looking at the gameplay, it's very compelling. Of course, people wanted to be knocked off of the levels instead of doing finishers. But long story short, I will say this. I have played that game hours. You see my Ratchet and Clank, he's sitting at 999. My Kratos was level 999. One of my Coles, I spent so much time on this. Team deathmatch a lot with me and my brother. 1v1, free for all. The way the characters move, they did so much respect. The game doesn't get enough credit for the movements of the characters, the specials, and how it brings back so much memories with the different guns that Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank might use.
Right.
They did a good job. Superbot did a good job. And the advertisement was good for that time. It's just that, the media wasn't good. They clearly compared to the Smash Brothers. The story wasn't good at all. I will say that. The story was short. It was a very, very short, stupid campaign. They didn't have a good explanation why they were there. They got summoned there by Polygon Man, and then they had to fight each other, but they didn't explain why they had a beef with each other. Like Kratos had a beef with Sweet Tooth. So I won't think that they will ever say, Superbot, come back and you control the story. No, they're going to have other developers help with that fucking story. And, of course, the graphics and everything will be better. But I think the roster was something that, let's say, as bad as the game was, if it had Crash and Spyro, nobody would have cared how bad the campaign was. Because it would have had two characters that you clearly expected to be in the game.
Right.
But this time, you have a new generation. Might laugh at this. You got Knack. But I won't be using them.
For real.
You got Knack. You got Astrobot character. Again, I won't be using them. The characters I will be using, Aloy, the hunter from Bloodborne. Like the new version of Kratos. You know,
Wait.
having
Am
the
I
change.
the only one? Am I the only one who enjoyed Knack? Like literally?
No.
enjoyed
Oh, I'm not saying
have yet to play Knack.
I'm not saying I didn't enjoy Knack. I love Knack. Don't get me wrong. I'm on part 2. And I brought Knack day 1 and I beat it that year. I don't hate it, but it's clearly not a character I probably will use. But look, I'm gonna be honest.
It's a good first game. It was a good like mascot game for PlayStation.
Now, I will say one thing.
It was a good game.
Knack 2, they clearly add that version in there. I would use him because that skill tree was amazing and all the different combat techniques he had. Knack is a good fighting character if you look at it. The Wanderer, we were just talking about Shadow of Colossus. I would love him in there again. If you add the Hunter from Bloodborne, you have to have armors for his alternate outfit. And one of the armors would have to be from Demon Souls, again, since you already own those properties. It sounds silly, but put Spider-Man in there. You do own it.
I have a question. If you put the guy from Shadow of the Colossus in there, what would be his...
Okay, and I knew you were going to ask this.
Style?
Okay, so I think he has a 1-2 slash with the sword. It might be a 3 slash. He has the bow and arrow. He'll be a very basic character. It's something that I knew you would ask, and I was thinking about it a lot too. They added Sweet Tooth, for God's sakes. And he had a 1-2 slash. That's it. He had a mine that he would drop that you could use as a combo to pop up the enemies, and then you could turn it into a 3-hit combo and use a shotgun, which would blast them. But Sweet Tooth did not have a lot of moves. He just had a few moves, but they still put him in there, and you could wreck shot with him. His special was putting C4 on you, and then he would kick you. Now, if another enemy was in the way, and that shit explodes, it takes them out too. You know? So, I mean, you got the Wonder with the bow and arrow. He has the sword, the horse, and then that's it. I mean, maybe he could summon a Colossus to come down and drop on you. I don't know. But yeah, there would be a couple characters that don't have a lot of moves. Of course, Delson. Definitely got to add him and Cole, or alternate skin for the two. Alternate skins for Nathan Drake this time around to include Chloe.
I mean, honestly, also with the success of First Light, they could add Fetch in there. Honestly.
Oh yeah, like as an alternate skin, yeah, a 3-character alternate skin. I would love that. The same thing with Joel.
She could be her own character.
She could be. I mean, that's what I was saying. Like honestly, I feel like she could be her own character in a similar vein.
I mean, they could add all 3 as individual characters with different moves. Yeah. So, I mean, I would like that. Joe and Ellie. What would they be like? See, this is the thing with PlayStation. You're not gonna have most of the characters stemming from their favorite game, which Mario takes up the whole roster of Smash Brothers. No disrespect, but with Sony, you got so many games. Like, you know, you just got so many. Kratos, you see right there, and you see Dante. Kratos had an alternate skin that was his brother from the PSP God of War. So one of his alternate skins was from his brother. That Spartan armor right there, that's actually from God of War Ascensions, the multiplayer, which I didn't notice until just now because I played the multiplayer on PlayStation Now. But Joe and Ellie, I would like to have as 2 separate characters.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
because Ellie moves so much faster in part 2, and she does so many different things.
Yeah. Like I would definitely. I feel like it's definitely much more enticing. Yeah. I feel gameplay wise to be playing.
Joe would be a more slower character because he is slower.
Yeah, I think the good combo we're gonna get is Joel from part 1 and Ellie from part 2. I think that's what we're gonna go with because I feel like maybe, obviously we haven't seen gameplay or really have it confirmed that we will be playing as Joel in part 2. But I imagine him being 5 years older might be a little bit slower, you know what I'm saying? His knees locking up. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So maybe, maybe homie got fucking arthritis and shit. I don't know. Yeah. So maybe he might not be able to, He
got really injured when it wasn't only the fall, but what happened,
Absolutely.
Yeah, like he's he's gonna feel that forever. Like that's
Bro.
like he almost lost his life with that injury.
Facts.
I did want to say one thing, right? It's really sketchy, but I wanted Crash and Spyro to already get announced for Smash, so people wouldn't say anything about him coming to PlayStation All Stars. Not because I don't want him to. I want both of those characters, but just to like let me not have a fucking heart attack when it happens next year. You know what I'm saying? And PlayStation All Stars might be in the works.
I feel that.
But the relationship between Activision and PlayStation, Activision owes Sony a lot. They've been selling a lot of copies of fucking Call of Duty all gen. You can fucking you can do it this time around. I mean, they had possibly 2 generations, right? Yeah, they had 2 generations or 1 generation where they could have added Crash and Spyro. I know they just brought them back this gen, but the one on the Wii U, they still had Spyro, the stupid ass Skylanders, dumb shit. But they never added them. And of course Banjo-Kazooie, I mean, I didn't see that happening, but it makes sense. I mean, Banjo made his name on Nintendo, not on fucking Xbox. But yeah, I could see Crash and Spyro coming over. I don't want too many third parties this time. I mean, they didn't have a lot of third party. They had Isaac from Dead Space. They had Big Daddy from BioShock. They had Dante, the newer version, which I didn't like. I wish they would have had an alternate skin. And this is how bad it was. His alternate skins was him stripping. So his original skin was the coat. Then the alternate skin was a tank top. Then another skin was no shirt and no tank top. So it was bad.
Damn.
And it's because they were trying to, not Sony, it was Capcom was trying to promote the DMC game so much that they didn't want you to remember the good Dante. And it's weird because people didn't like that Dante and they still like the old school Dante. So
yeah, I always thought that was true because like I know like DMC, the one that was made by it wasn't Platinum. Who the fuck was it?
Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory, yeah.
Ninja, yeah, that one. Like I know, I don't think that was received pretty poorly. I feel like it like had its following, and overall was an enjoyable
from what
experience.
I heard, the gameplay was amazing.
I heard, right? Yeah, like it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But I did think it was odd how they had that version, in PS, PS All Stars Battle as opposed to the classic Dante. But before y'all move on, I do have to unfortunately skedaddle. I got to go to class. Unfortunately, but thank you, JayTech, for having me on for a little bit. Also, on the topic of PlayStation All Stars, I don't mean to plug my own stuff. I just feel like it definitely adds to the conversation. Me and my friend on PlayStation Stores did an entire podcast on the hypothetical what would we want in a PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale.
Oh, yeah.
So that one we go into depth like characters, stuff like that.
Send me that link and I definitely post it. Yeah.
Let me hit you with that link actually before I go. But yeah, that was when we did over the summer, and
continue to talk. I know you're about to leave. This will be the strangest one. It is so strange, sick humor, and it would have to be Final Fantasy. Like Cloud went over to Smash Brothers.
Dude, if Cloud comes back home, bro,
he is back home with the time that we already know for Final Fantasy VII. I think the timed exclusivity might be later into the life cycle of the PS5, and then they'll start to bring them over to Xbox after the other episodes come out. But it was so weird for Cloud to be in Smash Brothers, but they didn't add the other Final Fantasies in the beginning. Like the characters from Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3 could have been in Smash Brothers because they started on Nintendo. Or the Crisis Core cast. The Crystal Chronicles, cast the characters. But I know why they added Cloud because, look at him. You think it's Final Fantasy. I understand. They could give us Titus. They could just give us Cloud if that's what they wanted to do. Again, another cool character they had on here, a versatile character, was Spike from Ape Escape. They added the Japanese design, though. They didn't add the United States version. And this version he has sunglasses. He looks a little cooler with his Dragon Ball Z spiky hair and shit. Of course, I mean, they have some classic characters. Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper. Two of those characters you don't even fucking see anymore. They had Sir Daniel in there. You know, I mean, it was a good game to let people know. I mean, at Sony, that some of the characters that they didn't make games for anymore, people did care about them, and they wanted something new from them. So, it did test the market. I wish it would have done a lot better. I mean, we had Ryu from Ninja Gaiden. He was supposed to be in there. Lightning from Final Fantasy 13 was supposed to be in there. Ezio from Assassin's Creed. These were third-party characters confirmed are supposed to be in there. And Dart from Legend of Dragoon was confirmed, and we saw the character model. He was supposed to be in there. I don't know what happened. They blame it on somebody hacking in and finding out and leaking the character rosters, and that's why the majority of the third-party developers pulled their characters out of the future DLC. But with Dart being a PlayStation exclusive character, there was really no reason outside of they didn't believe the game performed well enough to add him as a DLC character. And that's what they were going for. They wanted him to be a paid DLC character, even though they could have added him for free, but they wanted him to be paid, and they said no, they scrapped it. They kept the servers up until what? The early part of this year?
The
All-Star
servers for All-Stars? Oh, yeah. Shit. Wasn't that like fall last year, I think?
It might have been fall of last year, yeah.
I forgot. Honestly, I forgot.
But they kept them up for so long, man. I mean, I wonder how much money does it cost Sony to keep servers up? Like, how much?
You have to imagine also with, like, the player base that's currently playing in 2018, you gotta imagine it can't be that expensive to keep the servers on to support the player base, but still, like, nonetheless, you know.
Yeah, because I was playing God of War Ascension's multiplayer, and that shit's still up.
Yeah. I feel that. But I sent you the link to that podcast on Discord. So peep that.
You, man. I'm
much appreciated. Yo, everyone watching this, subscribe to JayTech right now. Go in the description, follow his Twitter, join Discord if you want. I don't know if it's open to everyone. Follow his Twitch. Support the homie. I support the homie.
Thanks, man.
Shout out JayTech. I'm definitely be on the collab with you later, dude, if you're down.
Okay.
We gotta play something out. Yeah, we will. But it was dope meeting you boys. Dope talking to you all. I'll see y'all later.
Sure.
Okay, Adam. I know you're not a big fan of fighting games. Do you have?
No, I'm just reading this Wire article, and I'm looking at the thing that's really specifying for me and jumping out is the UI, the real-time UI, which is.
I'm glad you're talking about that because I didn't read it yet, and I needed to know.
I heard about the facelift, but hearing about this is the sense of.
I heard about that.
I mean, they talked about you being able to download single-player, multiplayer values of the games, which we kind of got at the beginning of the generation with PlayStation, with Killzone, Shadowfall, where you can download single-player or the multiplayer first, or prioritize. Which they're doing this, like they're actually going in with it. And also the real-time UI, which is a really interesting factor, is, you know, you don't have to go into the game to get this information. It literally tells you, like, what missions you can do, what rewards you'll get for these missions within those games, which is, again, some interesting aspects. I ain't gonna lie. I like the sound of it on paper, but I have to wait and see how it actually plays out.
So, Sick.
Yep.
I don't know if you were the one, but were you one of the ones that said that the multiplayer would push the PS5 for Last of Us? Because whoever said it was right. It seems like they were a little bit right.
Nah, that wasn't me.
Okay.
I don't really care about the
I don't either. But it would make sense. I mean, a lot of things make sense now. I mean, today is a weird day. I didn't want this to happen because Concrete Genie came out, and it's a game that I believe is struggling to find its place. It's a great game. I played 2 hours of it at like 3 in the morning. It's a beautiful game. But yeah, it's kind of weird to drop this shit on a fucking Tuesday, but it's gonna scatter throughout the whole rest of the week, so they're smart.
I have Concrete Genie. I haven't played it because I'm trying to finish up the plat for Borderlands. I felt like I would have it last night, and it just didn't turn out that way because I gotta wait to get one of these dumbass gold keys or whatever. I am so ready to uninstall this game. You just have no fucking clue.
That's all I'm hearing about. Isn't Yellow trying to go get the plat?
Do you not follow Randy Pitchford or like Borderlands like on Twitter? They're always giving them out, man.
Yeah, but it's stupid that you make that something that you can't obtain in the game.
In the game, yeah, I know.
You have to get it as a shift code. Like, I'm not constantly watching what is it, Gearbox or Take Two Twitter or Randy Pitchford. I'm not following him like that to get a damn shift code. So, and I got some shift codes, but I guess they weren't any good because when I redeemed them, they didn't give me any golden keys. Yeah, so I honestly, but truthfully, the reason why I didn't jump into it because I got to work today. So I really want to jump into it when I can really focus time on it.
I got you.
Not jump in and then have to jump out because, oh man, I got to go to sleep because I got to get up for work tomorrow. So, it's going to be interesting, man. I already have it. It's already preloaded. It's already on my PlayStation.
Yeah.
I just want to give it my full attention.
Oh, I understand that, man. I tell Adam all the time I get irritated if I play a game too close to leaving for work because it's like I'm not respecting the game at all. I'm just, let me rush through this so I can. No, I don't like doing that shit. But
yeah, so that's my only gripe. But I'm definitely gonna hop into it this weekend because I should have 4 days off because they gave us some paid time off that we gotta use by the end of the year because our sick time rollover, but our PTO does not roll over, so we gotta use that shit immediately.
That's exactly how my job is. They just gave us that shit. We get like 3 hours given back to us each month, depending if we come to work, and then that'll roll over as much as possible. But yeah, we gotta use that leave, or basically what they just pay it out to us at the end of the year if we don't use it.
That's correct, and that's the thing. I'd rather use the days. I don't really care about the money because
Oh yeah, I'm off on Death Stranding, bro. I put that shit in like 3 months ago, man. I didn't want to fuck around with that. That game's gonna be fucking huge. Like,
I didn't even have to put in for that one, which was extremely great because I'm already off, so I'm gonna be off that entire weekend. Like, I can't fucking wait, dog.
Good shit.
Death Stranding is honestly, and I tried to tell people this. Death Stranding is the game that I'm most looking forward to, honestly. And it's weird because a lot of people don't understand why, but it's just the intricacies that were put into the game. And I like the fact that he didn't give too much of the narrative away, honestly, because I know that's what people wanted. People wanted the narrative. They didn't really give a damn about the gameplay or anything like that. They wanted to know exactly what it was about down to the T. They wanted to be able to anticipate how this game would end. And unfortunately, they don't get the convenience of being able to do so. I mean, the way he put it together, it's like you get bits and pieces of it, but even now, people still don't know the full extent of how deep this rabbit hole is going to go. And honestly, that intrigues me even more.
That's very true. I'm tired of knowing a lot. I mean, we're all getting older. Prime example, when I watch anime, I watch so much anime that if a story goes a certain way, I can really figure out where it's gonna go. Most of it that I've been watching has been taking me for a loop, and that's what I like. I like that in my storytellings. We've watched so many movies, we watched so many TV shows. It's almost like everything's so predictable. But when something's a surprise to certain individuals, it gets us excited. Others, it's like they can't stop trying to dig out. Oh, it's bad. Is that why he doesn't want to tell us? Like, no, man. It's just that's his style. That's his style. I don't think anybody can sit up here and say when Metal Gear Solid came out for the PlayStation 1, they knew exactly what they were getting. They knew exactly how the story was. Adam, was you in a party chat yesterday when Big Money was trying to save the game of Metal Gear Solid and he didn't know he had to go to a certain radio station?
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, so like his games have always been different. Like it's always been different. One might have had more action that you remember than the other. It's not to say this won't have action, I mean, he added a super easy mode in this game, so it does mean this game is gonna have some challenges. So I'm excited, man. I couldn't be more excited about this game if I wanted to. And like I told a lot of people, I was with Nintendo for a long time, and stealth games weren't my favorite at all. And it's not that I didn't play his games because I don't respect him. It's just the stealth games were not my favorite. But I see this as an opportunity if this is going to be a franchise, to jump in on here, see what it's all about, and follow him, you know, and support him. And that's
you know what's interesting too. I saw something. First of all, I heard a rumor, and again, take this shit with a grain of salt because you know people love to run with shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I heard a rumor that Sony was looking to buy CD Projekt Red. Again,
wow.
don't know how true the rumor is, which is why I haven't reported on it myself.
Okay.
But it was interesting because right after I heard that rumor, then I saw Kojima with the team at CD Projekt Red, which was even more awkward. I'm like, man, you know, maybe I'm looking too deep into it, and maybe it doesn't make sense at all. But you know, just hearing about it, then seeing Kojima with the studio at CD Projekt Red,
yeah, look,
and you know, it's something. It's something.
Go take a look at that. Look, when they do this type of stuff, when I see artwork like that coming from the studios over the last 3-4 years, that's when I say that it's possible for an All-Stars game to come out, because this is what will have to happen this gen or next gen when it comes out. The studios would have to be buddy-buddy. They would have to communicate. You get what I'm saying? You would have to trade ideas, because you don't want to just put something out there this time around. That was the biggest thing. You just put out All-Stars, and it seemed like they didn't have the passion. The characters moved. They had the movements. They had the voice act. They brought a lot of old school voice actors back for them. But it was the story. It was like, it just didn't make sense, you know? So they would definitely have to be contacting each other and playing each other's games to see how these characters move. And I see that more now than ever.
Did you read the information about the PS5, the exclusive look that Wired, I believe it was Wired?
I got some highlights from it. Adam read all of it, but I got some
I just read it just now. I just read, like, it's like, it's a pretty easy
I like what I'm hearing, and I was telling Adam about this, even though the fucking controller is dead now, Adam. It's not only it doesn't charge, it's not coming on anymore. I love those triggers. The feel of the controller is great. It ain't working worth shit.
What I'm hearing about this DualShock, this new DualShock, is obviously because this was like they were able to get their hands on this controller, which was like a dev version of it. So the final version is very like robust. But from what I said this I think a few days ago. I talked about how I would love to see Sony implement some sort of like scuff controller aspect where you have paddles on the back or adaptable like triggers. And what happens? They fucking bring out adaptable triggers, which again, instead of having to convert, because when I play first-person shooters, I always go for L1, R1. I don't use the triggers because, like, it's again, I want reaction, right? Whereas now it sounds like the DualShock 5 is what I would just want to call it. It's going to allow you the ability to basically set how you want those triggers to work. Do you want them to be very short contact, or do you want them to be like what they are right now, where you have to push them down a fair bit to get that reaction? And again, it's like, I like that. I like the fact that they're implementing these smaller things, because then it just takes the whole elite controller out of the fucking question. Like, if they added paddles on that goddamn, if they added paddles on the DualShock 5, holy shit, I'm in.
Yeah,
I think
they're getting a lot of feedback from us. They're getting feedback from developers, and I know it sounds a little far-fetched. They did put their names on these official skiff. They're called a skiff or scuff controllers. So they know the type of controllers we like to use for gaming. This is the one thing we heard a lot with the PS Vita being made, the PS4 also being made, that they contact these developers. They had a close relationship with these developers developing the system, and I think that's very, very key. So I think we're going to be happy. The feel of the PS4 controller, when it first came out, people couldn't stop talking about how awesome it felt, and they locked it down. I mean, I got a lot of faith in them this time around,
Well, they didn't. What I took from this too, in regards to the controller and what they said in the article, they aren't changing much about the PS5 controller. It's genuinely going to be a PS4 controller, just with new features. Like, and that's kind of how they described it. So the person who actually got to see this controller from Wired, he said it looks identical to the PS4, the DualShock 4 controller. So and I thought that was great too. But what that also confirmed to me, without them actually confirming, is that they probably kept that look, that feel, because these controllers that they're selling now are going to be backwards forwards compatible with the PlayStation. That's the only thing. The thing is, they never came out and confirmed that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I even asked, like, is this confirming or denying? Can you confirm or deny now confidently whether or not the PS4 controllers are going to be, forwards compatible or backwards compatible, whatever?
Makes sense if they were.
It would make sense because they're pushing these controllers heavy. And my thing is, I seen some controllers that I like that I was like, yo, I might have to cop this joint. Like that, they had a purple one, like that shit looked fly as fuck. And I was like, do I really want to get it? And I was like, nah, I think I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna chill because I already have like 8 controllers. You know what I mean? And it works for me though because all of my kids have PlayStations as well. So
that makes sense.
When they break them, it's just like, yeah, go get another one off the shelf. You know what I mean? So, and the funny thing is, in all the years that they've had PlayStations, my youngest son is the only one that broke one, and he didn't necessarily break the controller. His headset cable broke off in the controller. So yeah, that happened. But outside of that, they haven't had any controllers that really broke. So I still got a shelf full of brand new controllers, literally. And then I'm gonna have another one when the Death Stranding PS4 comes out.
Exactly.
And you know what I really want to see, honestly? And this is like gonna be a real big thing. So I hope they pay close attention to this. Transferring your PS4 games over to your PS5.
We were just talking about this, Adam.
What do you mean, like digital aspects? Yeah.
Well,
because all of my games sit on an external hard drive. Literally.
We were just talking about this. Me and Yellow was talking about. Well, me. He already has one. I'm gonna be getting an 8 terabyte by the end of the year, and everything.
No. See, that is easy. Going from PlayStation to PlayStation, so PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 4, that's easy. With an external hard drive, you just plug it in and go. But I'm talking about with like the PS5 when that comes out. How is the transition from PS4 to PS5 going to be?
I want it with all the power we're hearing about. I want it. It should be. It should be seamless. There's no reason why I should be having any problems.
Yeah, because again, it's the sense of as well. You go, just to mention this, based on like the architectures of 3 to the PS4, right? There's a big difference between them, right? Because of certain reasons. Whereas, again, with the PS4 to the PS5, Mark Sony's been working on this. I'm guessing he's got the sense of, as well as integrating what he wants, he's also thinking about the forward-thinking aspect, where it's like, okay, we want to make sure that gamers, because again, they don't want to go back to the aspect where PS3, right, with the whole, we can't do name changes because of the old aspects of the PS3, or, what was it again? It was something recently. It was to do the backwards compatibility, right? That's another thing. They don't, they want to go forward with that, right, with the PS5, but they can only do the PS4 games for now. And then I'm guessing with the PlayStation Now, the movement towards that, they will then implement PS3, 2, and 1 with that aspect. So I think Sony's got that. I think he's got an idea of how that's going to go down.
I'm going to tell you this. I have a actual picture of the dev kit that they have.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It was kind of close to what that picture was. The black looked like a mouth guard, like a toilet, whatever. I seen the actual PS5 dev kit, and man, I don't know what made them go with that particular like form factor, man. I really don't. If it's not going to be,
that's
like
not
the final thing.
Not gonna be like that though. That's the thing.
No, of course I've seen the PS4 development kit, and Jesus, that thing was ugly too. But
okay, I wanted to share this. This is very important because there was a lot of speculation. This is a quote from PlayStation's blog. They said, "While there's still much to share about the PlayStation 5 in the year ahead, we still have plenty of blockbuster experiences coming your way on PS4, including Death Stranding, The Last of Us 2, and Ghost of Tsushima." We already know the Death Stranding's an exclusive. Sony ain't gonna throw money away just to have that on another platform. They ain't stupid, okay? Yeah. But those were the 4 games. Those were the Mount Rushmore of games at the end of the gen. It was Days Gone, it was Ghost of Tsushima, it was Death Stranding, and The Last of Us. Clearly, Ghost of Tsushima is going to be the last game, but goddamn, think about that, Sick Humor. The last time we got a game from Sucker Punch was towards the beginning of this gen.
Yeah, they end it.
Yeah, and they're gonna end it, and it means that they took a lot of time and care. And I know their craft has changed, you know, but goddamn, man, I can't fucking wait, man. I mean,
I'd be down for a remaster of Infamous and Infamous 2, and also Festival of Blood. I would be down for a remaster.
Now, what the fuck, really, man? What if Bluepoint was working on that? God damn it.
You know, well, here's the thing. Nobody knows what Bluepoint is working on. We've heard rumors of Demon Souls. There has been speculation that SOCOM is making a comeback, and there's also been speculation of Siphon Filter making a comeback. So we really don't know what they're working on, but Sony needs to secure Bluepoint immediately.
Yes, they do.
Like, it's almost okay. I'm gonna tell you how Bluepoint feels right now. Bluepoint feels like Undead Labs, right? Now, I'm not saying the quality of work that they do. I'm simply saying it almost seems like they work exclusively with Sony already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Insomniac.
So they're kind of like synonymous with PlayStation. PlayStation need to just go ahead and secure these folks. Go ahead and bring them in. You know what I'm saying? Make it do what it do, because what can they lose? And honestly, I would delegate Bluepoint not to making their own games, but literally just remaster or remaking like the shitload of games we got just sitting in the archive.
You know what, man? I know a lot of people ain't gonna agree with you or me. That would be amazing to have a developer dedicated to remasters, so you wouldn't have to outsource it to a random developer anymore.
They would never have to worry about losing jobs, because their job is to make old ass games.
Make them look better.
Yeah. Make them look better. There you go. Give them a nice coat of paint.
I would be all for it. You're gonna need a developer like that. Otherwise, like I said, they're gonna be all over the place with the quality of the game. At least if you have a dedicated developer, you know what to expect from the next remaster or remake of your old favorite game. So I'm all for it. I mean, you have dedicated developers over at Microsoft making nothing but Gears and nothing but Halo and Forza. Until we see the rumor, a racing car developer is going to make Fable. Until we see that shit, that developer only makes car games, and the other two only make shooters, first-person shooter and third-person shooter. They're dedicated. Yeah. So, it's not impossible that will happen. No, it's not impossible.
I mean, they did say they're going to buy Sony are looking to get new studios. So obviously, they've done Insomniac, which again was a long time
I see coming. Kojima Productions, and I see Bluepoint, and I see maybe one more. One more. It has to be one more.
Well, I mean, one more for me. I mean, it's a far-fetched one, but for me, it has to be fucking From Software.
Fuck yeah, man.
If they were to go for it. But again, it's a far-fetched one, because
they still are. Let me ask you a question. Are they still working with Namco Bandai for this new one?
Well, yeah, they are, yeah. Elden Ring,
they see, to be honest, with these mergers and these acquisitions, I've saw before this gen. Remember we saw with Namco Bandai? Remember that one? Like, Namco and Bandai. We didn't see that. A lot of people didn't see Squaresoft and Enix happen. But I would not say that if the next Souls game from them is not the one that says, hey, well, we should buy them before Sony wants to.
You know, I'm a little upset, man, because I think Facebook is actually gonna acquire Ready at Dawn.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know that sounds crazy, right? They own Oculus. You have to remember that. And I've seen Ready at Dawn pushing a lot of Oculus promo, man. And I'm like, damn. I think Sony might have flubbed that one up.
I want to agree with you, but I can't. The only reason why, this is just the small disagreement, is because Insomniac was doing the same fucking thing and still are. That's the only reason. That's my only disagreement. They push a lot of Oculus VR titles leading up to the acquisition. You see what I'm saying? And they still are.
Yeah, and you might be right. But I don't know. This one just feel a little different. This one feel a little different.
It might work. It might work, and maybe that's why they broke it off with Facebook. Outside of the people breaching their fucking private history and shit, all that dumb stuff. But
there's a lot of shit going down with Facebook. Yeah, what they want to do.
You might be right. You might be right, but you gotta admit, Ready at Dawn got a lot of history with Sony, man. Like they. I mean, it's weird how Sony is. You just talked about
the vast majority of their history is to do with PSP games. Like that's where a lot of people started hearing them because they were making good God of War games.
Oh yeah, that Daxter game. Oh, that was good.
Yeah, both God of War games were really, really well done, and I enjoyed them. I think there's a couple others, but Order was a game where they focused a lot on the engine, the visual aspect side of it, and the gameplay. You could see vice versa that it wasn't a big importance to them for their first game. Which so like, okay, maybe we could do something in the next game. It turned out that didn't.
Huh? What happened?
I don't know why, but they had.
If they just had like more open spaces, a few more enemies, and like certain things, and obviously they had more sections like that, like where the guns could have their own little sort of impacts on the level, like like the basic rifle, right? It has basically a burst of air where you can push back enemies. What if there was aspects where you can do that to, I don't know, like boxes or something? You can use the environment around you to push like barrels or whatever. It would be great to have that, but again, it was these sort of things that you would think about in the next game.
Let's be real. The PS4 was not ready for their vision for Order 1886.
No, it wasn't. Well, look. I'm gonna be honest. There were some better looking games.
PlayStation. It might have not even been the PlayStation though, Jay. It just their familiarity with the PlayStation wasn't there because we've seen better looking games.
Yeah, we saw better looking. Yeah. So I'm gonna be honest, bro. I was pushing it before. I think he was here when I said that they need to talk more. They need to worry more about that Decima. Like they need to market that to their own studios. Like use it. Hey, we have an engine. Use this. Now I'm not saying everybody needs to.
You know why I don't think so? I don't think so because I feel like people need to make engines that fit their style of making
exactly,
games.
And I agree with that. But
not vice versa.
You don't want a BioWare Frostbite fucking scenario, Jay. You don't want that.
I know. I'm just saying. Sometimes it's all right.
The Frostbite engine is amazing. Every game that I've seen use the Frostbite engine, it looks amazing.
It looks, but it doesn't play.
Now, as far as in general, the ones that don't actually play, that doesn't play good.
Yeah, like, for instance, like Mass Effect Andromeda, like it had the similarities of what Mass Effect was, sure, but there were things here and there that were just out of place.
I don't think that was Frostbite. I think that was the people using the Frostbite engine because that was terrible. Because if you take that and you look at Battlefield looks and plays amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong. People don't like the politics surrounding it, but the game looks and plays amazing. I mean, and if you think about it, a third-person game is nothing more than a first-person game with the camera pulled back.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it should be easier when it comes to that sort of thing. It's easier. It should be more easier to develop a first-person game because you're not constructing the animations in which you're playing a certain character. Like there's less of them. Whereas if you're playing like Uncharted, there's loads of animations that you've got to do. Got to make sure the body parts are moving in the right areas. That everything's okay. Nothing's going crazy
right.
or haywire.
You're right about that. You damn right about that. Jesus, I could
exactly.
not imagine Uncharted or Last of Us running on the Unreal Engine. That would be a clusterfuck.
So what are we gonna do with some of these games that are out in the wind that they're not gonna cancel, but how are they gonna come out wild? Project Awakening, like I'm not saying that gamers won't buy any of these games leading up to the PS4, PS5. I don't see a reason why not because it's gonna be backwards compatibility, but because what we just got with Doom Eternal getting delayed, I don't see a reason why it got delayed outside of hell no, it's not going up against Call of Duty. Call of Duty wasn't.
No, it's to do with the development of the game. There's certain things that they weren't polishing up to standards.
I don't know, man. It's like everybody wants to be in fucking March now.
I'm just gonna say as well. It's also the sense that it's got to do with the multiplayer as well. They want to make sure the multiplayer in the game is up to a certain standard of like for a Doom fan, which I agree with in some aspects. But again, like that's I said this a couple of weeks ago with Last of Us, right? If they were to put multiplayer, that game would have got delayed. And look what happens with Doom. It's getting delayed because of one of those factors. It's just what it is. It's more work, more bugs to be fixed.
So seriously, I might be alone in this, and that's fine. But who's really waiting for Doom?
Not me. No, I'm not.
I'm just saying.
Adam knows. I got Doom from GameStop 2 months ago. It's been sitting, and I'm not lying. It's been sitting. Now that I see underneath all of these fucking this mail and shit, and it might have a little dust on it. But I have not put that inside my PS4. I thought that I wanted.
My reasoning behind why I like Doom so much, and to be honest, I've said this, it's probably one of my favorite first-person shooters of this generation, is because of me growing up with games like Doom, Wolfenstein, Quake, Unreal Tournament. I used to play arena shooters every day. I love those fucking things. But when Doom 2016 came out, it was so good to play a game. Like I shoot it like that because it was the basis of you can't camp, you have to move around the map, you have to get ammo, armor, health, there's power weapons, power mods. It felt good to play those sort of games again. But I'm happy they got delayed in some sense because it just means that I'm allowed to play Death Stranding more, able to concentrate that on more.
Yeah.
And also I'm thinking about getting Star Wars as well, which, I'm going to get it now completely because I have a lot of respect for Respawn Studios when it comes to telling EA to go and fuck themselves, and they've done a good job so far, so I'm looking forward to it.
Respawn has not told EA to go fuck themselves.
Well, dude, man, like, they've gone behind their back, bro. Respawn have gone behind EA's back with the whole aspect of, like, for instance,
you can't go behind
Apex.
your boss's back when they're paying for you to develop what you're developing. EA knows wholeheartedly exactly what's going on.
If they got rid of Respawn, I'm not saying it would be a massive chunk of their expenses, but because obviously EA, they've got FIFA and Madden, but what games will they have apart from them? Need for Speed and Anthem's not doing well, so it's a very condensed format for them to be like, oh shit, we've got to generate money in these certain sections.
Now, when you say Anthem isn't doing well, what exactly do you mean? Because it's still one of the highest selling games.
I know that game sold well, right? But I mean the aspects of delivering after that.
Do you think
keeping the servers
EA
going.
Truly care? EA doesn't care. EA got
no,
money.
They don't.
They don't give a
They give money.
damn.
That's it. They give you money. That's all they wanted.
You want me to show you how I know they don't give a damn? Because they put Anthem in the vault. So if you have EA access on whatever, you can go straight to the vault and download that bitch.
Yeah, I know. And you can also get it for dead cheap on Amazon right now, which is the third or fourth time. So
Yep.
No.
Nah, they really flubbed that one up, man. And I have to say I was disappointed because I really liked Anthem. It just didn't have content. It didn't
just
have
have console.
any
That was the only
freaking.
bad thing
I'm
about
not
it.
gonna sit up there and lie, bro. When it first came out, I was on it. Did my live stream that first weekend, and it's not a bad game. It's not a
But
bad
once you
game
get
at
to
all.
a certain point, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly.
There's
It's
nothing
like,
for you to do.
yeah,
Like,
and that's what it is. You need
It's like
content.
a cataclysm. So cataclysm event was supposed to be only a limited time event. They end up just putting up their
I'm looking at these fucking photo mode images of fucking Concrete Genie. So is Concrete Genie native 4K because they didn't do HDR and it's a smaller game. It's a 15 gigabyte game.
What? It didn't do HDR.
Yeah.
With the art style that it has, it didn't do HDR.
What they said is they're adding it later, but they wanted to focus on 4K.
Oh, okay.
And what when they wanted to focus on 4K, I'm not sure if it's native. It should be native because it's a smaller game.
Does it look crisp?
It's very crisp. It's very crisp.
It might be native 4K then.
Yeah, I'm gonna just retweet this post from what's this dude's name on Twitter? Come on, man. I know fucking Twitter gonna crash again. His name is Strap underscore 4K. He posted some images. It's a fucking beautiful game. It's a gorgeous. Oh, that's another fucking character. Add his ass in PlayStation. It's a lot. I'll be honest. This generation probably have more characters in this game, hopefully, but they definitely should. Like remember Toomba from PlayStation 1? Nobody remember?
Yes.
Him? Yeah, pink hair. Yeah. People wanted him in there. I wanted him in there. I used to play that game all the time on my PS1 with the little TV monitor. Definitely would love to have somebody like him. Of course, Mega Man, you could, but Smash Brothers gobble him up. Somebody from Persona, like the third parties that made PlayStation who they are.
Right.
Even though it's weird how can you do that when Nintendo did gobble some of them up. I don't know how that works.
I think Nintendo should buy Platinum.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I mean,
I
look,
wholeheartedly believe that.
Before you jumped in there and you went back and forth with Dealer, I think I said something to the effect that there's no point in Platinum not just staying with Nintendo because they have a grudge with PlayStation and Xbox.
Do they?
Yeah. What the Platinum was working on Scalebound.
Yeah, I know the whole Scalebound situation.
Well, the gripe with PlayStation is they blame PlayStation for Bayonetta not doing good on their system because it was hard to develop for. And Bayonetta was fucking ass. Yeah, Bayonetta was ass on the PS3. And they blame PlayStation for it being ass.
I don't believe that's a gripe. That's something that's pretty much out of PlayStation's control. Like that's their knowledge of the system.
Exactly.
And from what I knew, I believe the ICE team was actually teaching developers how to program for the PS3.
Yeah, and what's weird is I knew about all of this, and you still produce a game that bad. And I didn't buy it. I think I brought it a little bit later, but it was not good at all, and I ended up having to trade it back into GameStop. It was not good at all, man. And it's like, I don't know how you fucking blame the system anymore when you're fucking getting paid to know this shit, But look, they look like they're real comfortable with Nintendo. I don't see why not. I mean, Nintendo, it couldn't hurt for you to buy some of these studios. I mean, they always bitch about Sony partnered up with third-party developers and they're making always third-party exclusives, which isn't true. But I think Nintendo could buy a studio or two. I mean, they got the money to. They should.
Jamar, if I were you, I would get a regular Switch, bro.
Yeah, get a regular Switch, man. Yeah, don't.
I would get a regular Switch, bro. Like that Switch Lite, depending on how much you plan on playing it, if the controllers start drifting, you're gonna have to send the whole Switch in.
Yeah. Bro, so what's up with that lawsuit? They still got that lawsuit because the Switch Lite is still having the same problem. So
yeah, they added the Switch Lite to the class action lawsuit.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Nintendo's a great developer, but some of their fanboys look the other way with that type of shit, man. Like they really do.
Well, I mean, I equate it to the beginning of the generation with the PlayStation controller when the grips was fucking peeling off and shit
you
like
burning
that.
them things, man. Yeah.
You know, it was like I heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, you know, go and buy some grips," and that shit it wasn't right either. You know what I'm saying? Like your stick wasn't fucked up, but you know the analog stick itself was trash. But they fixed that shit quick. And they fixed all of the controllers for free. So if you sent your controller in, they would send you a new controller with the new grips.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I had to
now,
send
I hope they don't repeat that. I'm pretty sure they took all the criticism from what we heard. Well, Jim Ryan, they don't want the complacency or some shit like that. So I'm pretty sure they're not gonna make that mistake anymore. I mean, it's a lot of things they've learned. They haven't fucked up so much this gen. I gotta say, they've done a very good job. It's not only because they're ahead, but they've done a lot of good shit this gen. They you know, gotta give them credit. They did good.
Well, I mean, I have no gripes. Like I had my base PlayStation, the one that you know we got in 2013. I had that up until I purchased my Pro. And it worked just fine. I didn't have any. I mean, it sounded like a jet engine, but come on.
Oh yeah.
Come on, man.
Oh yeah.
No,
but they're gonna have a good, quiet fan.
To me, I don't think it has to be completely silent. Like they don't have to reach like Xbox levels of quiet to me, but make that shit less loud. Like not as loud as it is right now. The way it's loud right now is just ridiculously loud. I mean, if they can make it silent, sure, go for it. But imagine what it's gonna take for them to make it quiet. You know what I mean? So, like you don't really want stuff that's gonna unnecessarily raise the price of the cost of the PS5, especially for the people who really got a gripe with the price, because that's what I'm hearing. A lot of people are
Kojima
like, I don't want it to be too expensive. Like that's just what it is. So hopefully it ain't too expensive, but for me, it's a day one buy. PS5 is day one.
That's you know, man. Look, I told people the only reason why I got my PS3 in 2008 is because I was still in high school in 2006. You know, I graduated in June of 2006, and you know, fresh out of high school, I was going heading straight to community college. Wasn't thinking about work. It was just school and go to college. That's what I did. You know, and then I had to drop out, and then I had to go join the workforce. You know, I got some great opportunities and just kept working. But if I would have stayed in school, I probably wouldn't even had the PS3 in 2008. You know, yeah. So I joined. I was with PlayStation from the PSP, from I believe the second year of the PSP being out. I got that because my DS had fell out my pocket on the carpet, and the top screen cracked internally, and it was like that black ink thing. You know what I'm talking about? So what was cool about it is I could use the bottom screen for Game Boy Advance titles, but clearly I couldn't play like that. Now it didn't matter because the DS when it first came out had the worst drought ever. It had a horrible drought. It had some good launch titles, but after that, you literally had to wait 2 years for the good games to start rolling into the DS.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like DS games at all. Really, it was a lot of shovelware, man. It was a lot of shit that
I believe you. I picked up. These are the games I had. I had Need for Speed Underground 2, the Mario 64 game, Rayman, the 3D game. And I played the Metroid Prime demo a lot. And that's it. That's what I said. It had a drought, and then all my other games were Game Boy Advance. And once it got broken, you know, and my brother I tell people this story all the time. He got games for the PS2 every fucking Friday. Every Friday there was a new fucking PS2 game, and I was like, I want that. That's the enjoyment I want. So I guess my mom must have noticed, and I was surprised as fuck. Underneath the Christmas tree was a PSP. And I think the first game I got was a zombie game. It was like an infected game, and it was so fucking good.
I'm gonna tell you what my transition was, right? So NES all day. We used to play Super Contra. Like I literally broke a Nintendo playing Super Contra. No BS. But I always played Mario, Super Mario Brothers 3, and I think that was part of the problem too, because I used to leave a video game on. I mean, there was no saving like that.
Oh
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So I used to leave it on, and like we used to play this thing night and day. My cousin, he ended up getting the Sega Genesis, and I was like, holy shit, what is this?
Just to mention, apparently, because obviously there's been a lot of rumors that have been debunked today because of the PS5 news. Yeah. Another one that got debunked was the fact that a lot of people said how the communication between Sony and devs was very poor communication. That's a load of rubbish because it came out that is not the sense.
No, and a lot of devs came out like
there's a lot of things that got debunked, like especially the ray tracing thing.
Okay, so I wanted to point this out, and you know where I'm going with this. The PC port beggars, right? These were the motherfuckers that did not believe it could do any type of ray tracing, and I don't hear or see any of them like I did on Friday with the Red Dead Redemption shit, because they were wrong. They were wrong. I believe they put the rumor out it was going to be software based and it was going to barely do it.
I would have to see it in action. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not a firm believer of this ray tracing. I believe it's gonna be scaled down in a way. I am one of those people, but I'm gonna tell you why. Because I own a 2080 Ti, and man, you load up a game and put in, like, let's say Battlefield. I played Battlefield 5, and it has ray tracing that you can enable on it. First and foremost, you gotta restart the entire goddamn on game just to enable the ray tracing. And when you do enable the ray tracing, like, you barely see a difference. At least me, I barely saw a difference. I mean, there was a few reflections and things that I could see, but it wasn't worth the actual hit that you take to performance. Like, it made no sense. And then with Control, when I played Control, like, they had this, I don't know if it's like a checkerboard rendering thing that it does, but it drops the native resolution to 1440p, but it lets you display it at 4K, right? And that's the only way you can get good frames with ray tracing and all of that stuff enabled. Like any other way, it runs like trash. If you try to run it, without the DLSS, which is like a super sampling, a form of super sampling, if you try to run it without that and you just try to run it at 4K with ray tracing, man, expect to play your game at like 30 frames per second. So it'll hit it. It's just gonna run it at 30 frames per second, and it looks.
Well, let me put it this way. I agree with you. Every game don't need that shit. Every game don't need it. But I would love to see games like The Last of Us have an update. Yeah, Last of Us have an update. A game that might use it, Project Awakening looks like it could use it pretty well. Of course, Ghost of Tsushima.
Ray tracing is basically reflections, all that stuff that is mirroring bits and bobs, like puddles, where, if you look in the puddle, there's better detailed reflection. It's not.
It's not just reflections. It's not just reflections, and it does make a big deal when it's implemented properly. But a lot of games don't even implement it properly.
What was the first game? Was it Battlefield? Like, that was the big one, wasn't it?
No. Metro Exodus also has it.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yep.
No, but I'm talking about when they were just demonstrating it, for the first time.
Metro Exodus was the first game that they.
Was the first game, all right?
Yeah, because they were trying to show you how one light source could affect how everything looks inside of a building versus them having to add, artificial lighting. Yeah.
Okay. Last of Us. No, it isn't ray tracing, but Last of Us did that, didn't they? With the whole thing of the flashlight bouncing off different sort of surfaces where it emits lights in certain ways. But obviously, in ray tracing, that's something completely different. But
it's pretty much one light source.
Yeah.
And that one light source is being it's being displayed. So the way it bounces off of certain structures and things, because it's not artificial lighting that they're just putting in there. Like, you ever walked in a building, like playing a game, and you see a light but you don't know where the light source is coming from?
Yeah, I know, man.
That's kind of what it is. They show that, okay, if you got a light source coming from the window, what's going to actually be traced is the shadows from that one light source, instead of the shadows being artificially put there. Or because I didn't even know that they were doing that shit, but they're literally artificially putting shadows in games now. This is crazy.
If it's gonna help, the thing is, like, what Naughty Dog do with their games, right? When Naughty Dog develop their games, if they put something in their games that's gonna help make the players believe in the world in which they're making, then put it in the game. But if it has no sort of forward impact, then you put it. You don't take away completely, but you don't give it the full attention that you want it to, because again, you're trying to put something else in front of it.
Here's my thing: from what I've experienced with ray tracing thus far, I can care less for it, man. Actually, I couldn't care less for it. Period. I ain't gonna even lie to you. It's almost like HDR, right? And I make this example because I tell people, like, HDR, when you first heard about it, you was like, oh shit, this got HDR. And then I found myself turning HDR off on a lot of games because I just didn't like the way it make the game look. So it's like, now HDR is not even really that big of a deal to me. To me, I have to say to me, because I know our feelings aren't going to be mutual on this.
Yeah, of course.
But a lot of the games don't really utilize HDR properly. Like, I've seen some games like Infamous Second Son, beautiful with HDR. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Crackdown.
Yeah, of course.
Great because of the neon lighting and stuff. The way they implemented it.
What about Horizon? What about Horizon?
Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn looked phenomenal. Phenomenal. With
Wait, we got a confirmation for HDR for Death Stranding, right?
I don't know.
Because I saw the advertisement, that one where it got the PS4 exclusive. It says 4K HDR on the side, or does it just say 4K? Hold on.
It might say HDR. I don't know.
I don't know. I would expect it to, though.
Right, but that's again. I feel like games, if they don't have like crazy neon lighting in them, the HDR effect doesn't really pop as much. At least to me, it doesn't. But then again, like I said, a lot of games, if I look at it with HDR on and it makes it look washed out or anything like that, I'm turning that off completely.
I feel like it comes down to me, the HDR aspect, 4K, ray tracing, these like little things here and there. I feel like it comes down to the people that are using it, right? The devs, the studios that are using it. Because like you say, right, we have seen implementations of ray tracing where it's good, sometimes it's bad. Same with HDR. Sometimes, with the whole Red Dead thing, right? When Red Dead 2 came out, everyone was talking about how it looks better without HDR on. I think that was the correct way. Than it being turned on. I'm like, what the fuck? Which shouldn't be the vice versa. And it's like, no, this is what happened.
I want to cut in here for you for a little bit, because we gonna probably have to leave in about less than 20 minutes. But
I'm just gonna say, just before, Jay, because obviously I've been saying this a few times. You know how I talk about how Sony will do an event at the beginning of the year, right?
Yeah.
I'm feeling more and more, mainly because of today, that I feel like they're not going to do. I felt they're not going to do a first show before they run up to the actual show where they announce the price as well as the release date. Because the thing is, from what I'm seeing, right, from obviously the first Wired article, which was in April, to what we're getting now, it feels like they've basically done what they did when PS4 was announced, right? They've basically talked and demonstrated what this console is going to be doing in some spectrum. Then at E3, they showed you the games, the pricing, some other things here and there. I feel like they have done enough to be like, okay, let's wait until next year where we do our event, wherever that will be. I feel like it's probably going to be. I've changed my narrative of this a few times, but I feel like that.
So you don't think they've done anything for Consumer Electronics Show, because it looks like they're heading towards that?
They will do something around E3, but again, they
so
just
you don't
won't
think
be
they're gonna
at
talk
E3.
about the technology around a consumer electronics show? Because I think they might. I don't think they're gonna show anything, but I mean,
I think they will show the technology behind the console via the games that they're showing.
okay.
Whether there'll be tech demos or whether there'll be actual games.
So you think they going back to E3?
Well, not saying they. Well, I'm saying they're gonna be around E3. They're not gonna be at E3 though.
Well, that makes sense.
They might do a PSX, bro.
I
A lot of people
want to talk about this
Bluepoint
Bluepoint thing. Like, I didn't know they posted anything on their Twitter page because they haven't posted anything in like a fucking year. And I didn't like it's been so much news. So let me see what they posted. They haven't posted anything since December 30th of 2018. What they posted one day ago, they said, "Little drops of water make a mighty ocean. Join a team that holds quality above all. Actively seeking talented VFX artists, tech artists, and engineers for work on our current project."
Yeah.
So that's fucking crazy. It's not getting enough news. The news from this is actually coming about from all the articles, but not actually their Twitter page. I about to go check the job listing. I guess we could talk about. Let me see what they're talking about.
I feel like so that's where I'm looking anyway. I feel like PlayStation have done what they did in February 2013, where they've already spoken about what this console is. They spoke about the controller. This is obviously not on. This is not video. Obviously, this is just basically from articles. But they've done their job in that notion. So, like, you know what? We can go into a PSX or something around E3, or maybe even maybe a month out or after. Where I wouldn't say after. Probably say like a month before. Where they go, all right, here we go, guys. Here's the PS5. Here's the finalization of the PS5, the controller, price, the date. Here are some of the games. Here's some tech demos to show what's going to happen. Here are the services. Again, it's a sense of they focus on this hardware aspect, right? So now they can go ahead and they can focus on the software and the services and stuff like that. That again, they can get into the nitty gritty of, where they don't have to talk about any of this other shit. They've already done it. They can literally focus on what us as players are going to be seeing when we boot up this system, which is great. It's a good way of going. And the funny thing is, Xbox have not done any of this shit yet. They've only given us one video at E3 talking about how this console will do 8K, 120 frames.
I just believe for a second generation in a row, they gonna be behind PlayStation again.
And the thing is, PlayStation don't have to do a video, bro. They don't have to do this inside Xbox or whatever. They can just give you the news, and again, it's making fucking headlines on Twitter or anywhere. Because again, that's how
put the nail in the coffin, dude. They put the nail in the coffin.
I mean, they did this the first time. They just released an article and then they take over the internet. It's
not even. All of that shit that people was crying about, the cost of PlayStation Now, crying about crossplay. First, before they ever came out and announced the PlayStation 5, they literally cleared up all of that shit. Like, let's get this out of the way. Now that this is out of the way, here's the PlayStation 5. Here's what it'll be able to do. Now you can focus on what the PS5 is going to bring, because now you can't pull that trump card out. You know what I'm saying? You can't do it. So I like the way they rolled this out, man. I like the way they rolled this out, because nobody gives a fuck about crossplay, and they give you an option to turn that bullshit off. So it's like whatever. It's like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that shit, it was despicable what we watched last summer. Like, how people were trying to act like it mattered when they already used the feature since last gen, man. It's like, you gotta ignore it.
Last gen was not to do with crossplay, it was to do with cross progression if it came to Fortnite, which people were pissed off about. Yeah, that's the thing that pissed off people.
Fuck Fortnite, man. I can live without that game.
I will say this, though, when it comes down, because everyone always talks about around the price and the thing, right? When it comes down to whatever it may be, the fact of the matter is, if it's $500, $600, whatever, it is the sense of you have to think about it in the perspective of how people go ahead every year and buy the new fucking iPhone that is roughly around $1,000, and all that's different from the last iPhone to this iPhone is either the fucking camera or just basic speeds. So if you're willing to pay that much money for a phone, which mainly is the priority of what they cost, then you should be able to buy a fucking PS5. It's also the sense of what these consoles are going to be able to do as well. Because if you see some really cool snazzy shit with some games at launch that are like, okay, I'm interested in buying that day one, then that should be a dictation of you wanting to go for it.
But you're talking to a subset of gamers who buy controllers and then figure that games are only worth $1.
I know.
That's fucked up, man. Damn.
I'm just saying. I mean, that is what it is, right?
The thing is, they just want you to be in the same. Again, like it's funny because
they
like,
want us to be the same as them.
Be the same as you guys, but then when it comes to companies, they don't. Here's the thing: companies don't want to be the same. They want to be different in some way.
Exactly.
Like
that's why I don't see what Diller was talking about with day and date games that will never fucking happen. Sony's not stupid.
Like, I don't see that for like the big games. I said this to someone yesterday. I don't see that happening for our big games. I see it happening for maybe like games like maybe like the $30 ones like Concrete Genie, Medieval. Maybe. But then again, like day and date, I still feel like that won't be a sense. I feel like maybe a few months after, or maybe a couple months.
But have you seen the way Sony has been changing the way they market certain things, like the only on PlayStation stuff, which gives you like the special packaging for the games and stuff like that. They are focusing more on things only being available on PlayStation. It's not them saying that they want to.
Oh, what like, you mean You mean the sleeves? You mean you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing them. Yeah. No, well, this is the thing. That's the thing that makes Sony. That's the thing that's making. That's the thing that's working for Sony, because again, they are pushing that aspect that, like, it is only on PlayStation. You can only get on this platform in which, as we all know, like, if there's something exclusive that you want and you can only get from one place, right, it kind of builds a bit more of, like, you wanting it. It's also the sense of, like, a limited edition of something, like, what's that clothes shop called? Supreme. That clothes shop Supreme. Like, they get people lining up, right, to buy this brand new stuff, and then they sell it on for double the price.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
It is that sense that people will buy that because of the name and also what it is, and they don't have it. Mm-hmm. And people are like, I can understand why people are like, why do you think it's going to keep, it's going to work for PlayStation still? Well, probably because it has been working.
You want to hear something that's funny? You want to hear something that's funny? I'm going to tell you something that's really funny, right? And this is why, I don't really listen to those other stuff because honestly, there's no point. Like, they're in desperation mode and they still want to deny it. They are talking about quantity over quality.
Yes.
If you ask them what any of these studios are making, they can't tell you what any one of them are making. They can tell you a number of studios, right? But what does the number mean if you haven't seen anything from them? What if it's a 15 studios making what is that game? The game with the girl with the wrench and the little fucking thing. Recore.
Okay, because I was confused. I thought you was talking about Ratchet. Okay.
Nah.
Recore. Oh yeah. Oh god. No.
I mean, and the thing, they bought a whole bunch of small studios for games that y'all don't even play.
Exactly.
And the thing is, it's like, bro, why are you gonna compare them to a Naughty Dog? No.
But listen to this. Listen to what I did yesterday with Dealer, bro. I asked him again, is he getting Battletoads? Right? Now, listen, I don't want to see nobody joke about Concrete Genie. It's a brand new game by a new studio. It's a new IP. $30, right? Okay, not $1, $30. Not $60, it's $30. Great reviews, only one negative. That's what put it down below a 80. The highest point was a 79, sitting at a 77, still green. Still a better score. Still more fun to be had than any of the other trash that's been releasing via Game Pass only or whatever. And he said, a Battletoads not for me or something like that. Like okay, yeah. I thought that Concrete Genie wasn't for me, but I'm going out to support it with $30. I want to give it something a chance. Now, like he's looking at Battletoads, he knows it's trash. At least we ain't looking at Concrete Genie like it's trash. You see what I'm saying? It's not by the biggest studio. You know, we're not very familiar, but we're giving them our money. We're giving them a chance. And when you, as a gamer, don't want to give a different studio a chance and a new IP a chance or whatever, it shows that you already know you're getting shit.
I'm going to tell you, not a lot of people played Contrast, but they swear they love composing games. Right? Not a lot of people play Wasteland, but they swear they love. Isn't that what In Exile that makes that game? It's you got to realize the studios that they have they're how can I say this? They are not worthy of being in the same sentence as Sony Studios. Not even down to their smallest studio. None of them can't even hang in the paint with Ben Studio, much less, putting them in the sentence with Santa Monica or Naughty Dog. Like, what the hell? What are we talking about here? And you got to think about it. Motherfuckers be like, oh, but GT Sport, that's not better than Forza. GT Sport outsold every Forza that came out. Literally.
Yeah.
And it got graded on a curve because it tried to do something different, which was being an online-only game that was really supposed to be meant for their people who, go for that FIA league or whatever. Yeah. Whatever that shit is.
And it panned out because that league is doing very well now. It's getting a lot of screen time. It's got the esports shit.
That GT Academy thing. The thing is, what I actually really like is the fact that these people that compete in the aspects of that esports, whatever you want to call it, actually go on to become actual fucking race drivers, which is again a sense of holy crap. Like it goes from an actual sense of being able to do that. That's pretty cool. I ain't gonna lie. That's a really cool segment of it.
True.
I'm just gonna mute some people. I'll just jump back on my PlayStation real quick. Oh fuck.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was just weird to me, and it was kind of different, and it's like, when you compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges, bro, like Sony is sitting at the top of the mountain, and you got Sony is Kratos. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Xbox is Gaia, nigga. Yeah. Xbox is Gaia. We already know what the hell happened to Gaia. Mm-hmm. Like, they got crushed. Mm-hmm. They got crushed. They got crushed this generation, and people still don't know why. They don't know why.
I'm tired of this excuse. You had a rough launch. PS3 had a rough launch. When we see how they fought, they clawed their way back to where they are now. Like, I can't sit up here and allow you to lie in my face and say, oh, they had a rough launch, that's why the rest of the 5 years they've been on the market, they've still sucked this.
They want to piss on your head and tell you it's raining.
Exactly. It's like, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. There's a lot of people that had a rough launch or a rough start, and that rough start built character. It made them who they are, a better person. How the fuck you only gonna start buying these studios? Let's say, one and some change years before next gen. Like, come on, man. Didn't they just announce some studios they brought at E3 this year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next year is next gen. Why? Yeah. And then the fans are gonna sit up there and say, "Oh yeah, we got this. Oh, this studio's doing this." You ain't gonna see nothing until the middle of next gen at the least. It's really crazy that you really expect all of those developers to produce shit at the same exact time.
And a lot of their excuses are that they've got another team, which I don't necessarily decline, but how do we know this? You see? And how big are those teams?
We don't know anything about any of these studios, really.
There's a lot of people on Twitter that assume that this is the case. And, like, Ninja Theory apparently have 2 studios. They're working on Bleeding Edge, and they're working on some other thing. What's not to say that second title isn't like a very small story narrative game like Hellblade? You don't know.
Look, their bread and butter and their passion is still online games. I would not sit up here and say that they're gonna start making some AAA single player titles. No,
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I'd be surprised
to find out. You know, my thing is though, nothing in the world can sell me an Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, and look, the thing is, it's not because you're a fanboy. You know what the fuck you're getting. And I'm tired of that excuse.
After getting hurt this gen, I'm done, bro. Like, I don't have the battered wife syndrome, bro.
Bro,
like,
all
you're not
I'm gonna say right now, man, if they had brought out a good Fable, you know, Sunset Overdrive was still exclusive, and you locked that IP down, knowing that you don't actually own the IP anymore. You know, like you went through with Scalebound, and you didn't break up with that developer. Like, you didn't cancel all these other games and then close these studios. And you redeem yourself again at the end of this generation. This year is the last year before next gen. It is official. So you brought new studios at the end of this gen, and their fanboys sitting up there thinking that they're going to be able to recover? Recover what? The generation is over. These motherfuckers are waiting. Okay, let me fucking stop because I got to get ready to work. But look. They saying wait till next E3. Wait until E3. Wait until E3. Okay, it's next gen. It's next gen already. You waited all fucking gen.
That shit was made redundant.
I know it was redundant as fuck, but they did it. Sick humor. They did it right every fucking year. Wait till E3. Wait until next year. Wait until next year. And now we're at the end of the gen. You've lost the generation.
You still saying wait until next
year. And let's put this out there. Before they knew the facts of the PS5, they said, "Oh, let's wait until next gen." Everybody is quiet today because they didn't believe.
Again, like PlayStation are going. I mean, it's a weird way of how PlayStation are going about their news, but this is what I'm talking about when it comes to me thinking they were going to do a February event, then they're going to do one after it, like a few months after, like. They've already given you the information what they've done with the PS4. They literally now can just focus on something else now. The focus can be on the things that are going to sell this console to us as gamers. Which is like, okay, awesome. I'm ready. I'm ready to go, wherever that may be. Like, hearing about this Bluepoint game that they're making on the PS5, I'm looking forward to seeing what the hell they're cooking up, wherever that may be. I can't wait. That's going to be great.
Look, all I'm going to say right now, Sony is on the ball. They not look. I thought that they would get a little cocky because they won.
No, they won't. Because they learned their lesson from last generation.
And even though Microsoft's not being competitive, right? They're not being competitive. But look at Sony. They're like, okay, yeah, you don't want to be competitive. It's okay. We still go whoop your ass. We're not gonna stop.
Y'all keep forgetting the fact that Sony only flubbed up PS3 because they kicked their own ass. Microsoft just happened to gain off of them kicking their own ass. Meaning Sony had to do bad for Microsoft to do good. Like this.
Exactly.
Yeah, but when that see, this is the thing, the statistics people forget. When the PS3 did come out, it was selling at a better rate than the Xbox One.
Oh, for sure.
Xbox 360, which means if they came out at the same time like this gen, it doesn't matter how bad the launch of the PS3 would have been, they still would have kicked Xbox 360's ass. I say all the time, that 1 year advantage, and yes, the fudge up that was the PS3 in the beginning, that's what helped them. If it was not for that 1 year advantage, bro, there's no way, even with a fucked up launch, the PS3 would have still kicked his ass, and they know this.
Yeah.
And they don't have they're never going to have that advantage. They're never going to have that luxury ever again, and they know that. And if it's one thing that I know, if they know that shit, they should be working harder. They should change their fucking strategy. What they're doing right now is not working. Yeah, it's working to put like Dealer says, put profits up to give them money, right? But for the gamers, for the hobby that we love, it's not giving them anything. It's not giving them anything. I'm not talking about fodder to fight some imaginary console. I'm talking about games. Games to enjoy. Award-winning games. Games that you don't have to be embarrassed to talk about.
multi-plats are the games that I buy consoles for.
Shut the fuck out of here.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But it's not what sells your fucking system. And that's why they're so fucking embarrassed, and I gotta get up out of here. But this is why they're so fucking embarrassed to even talk about the sales. I ain't talking about the fanboys. I'm talking about Microsoft. And I don't know if it's illegal. I don't know how that shit works. But I know that if Sony didn't do it, they would be making jokes about it. He tried to tell me Sony didn't talk about the sales last gen. They had to divulge that information every fucking MPD, and they did. That's how we knew they were so far behind Xbox, and that's how we knew they were gaining up on Xbox last gen. It's not something that you can say, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. You changed the goalpost. You said, oh, we're going to talk about engagement. Then engagement looks stupid when you're talking about 3 million players versus 3 million sold. I mean,
PlayStation, honestly, they didn't give a fuck about the sales, bro. They told us about certain things, man. They weren't shady about it.
They were never shady about that shit. Microsoft's the only one, even Nintendo. And Nintendo know how late they got in the generation. They still talk about their sales. But guys, I gotta get to work. I gotta pay these bills.
Here. I gotta get to work too.
And thank you, Sick Humor. Thank you, Adam. Clearly, you know we gotta be back for the PlayStation Legion Sunday show. I got a family reunion this Saturday. That means no gaming podcast at 1 o'clock. If I get back in time and I'm able to stream, I might do one.
What's that Saturday you mean?
Yeah, this is this Saturday. But good thing is I'm off this Monday because Columbus Day. So, you know, I'll be able to make that day up for some gaming. But thank you guys for showing up, and thank all the viewers. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like. We will be doing styles of videos like this where you're seeing some gameplay and we're just chatting it up. But thanks everybody. I gotta get to work. Adam, you suck ass.
Deuces.
Deuces. Yep.
Yeah, Adam sucks.